morning spark. Stephen Allen, almost daily. Laughs and facts, served up plainly. Your dose of wit, it's never shady. Stephen Allen, almost daily.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Stephen Allen Almost Daily. We get in there on the Almost Daily, aren't we? I'm Stephen Allen. It's a day, so that kind of counts. And welcome along as we go a quick look through the newspapers, and that's basically it. It's a rush through the papers. If you're getting the MP3 version, well done for getting the audio. You're old school. I value you in some ways. You're the audio listening to podcasts because it comes from iPods, doesn't it? Those days. If you're watching on the modern day thing with the YouTube, well, look at you being all with it. I do think at some stage we'll have to do a live stream version on Rumble instead so I can use swear words and the other words that we all know you get demonetized for. Not that I'm monetized. Joodles joins us in the chat. You can do that. Says notifications work this time. Woohoo! Look at us with the technology. Right, let's start off with couple of things, actually. We'll start with the front pages. Usual business with the front pages. Here we go. You can guess what the news is about, so we're not going to do loads of them. We'll get the general theme. The Metro goes with Checkers Mates, about Donald Trump and Keir Starmer at Checkers. Checkers Mates. They've been sitting on that one for a while. They probably thought of that pun and thought we can't do anything with it until eventually there was a confluence of events, and the next thing you know they could use it. In the same way that I'm waiting for a pun, right? My oldest son is 3, and he knows other kids who are 3. 5 years from now, when he's 8, and his friends are 8, if any other kids that he knows are called Amelia, she'll be Ameliorate. That pun's in there. I'm 5 years ahead of the game, and the kids of that age won't know what that word means. Most people don't, but I'm going to be ready to do that pun. It's in the vault. But I think it's interesting that I was listening to a caller on Talk Radio, I think it was, who was saying, I don't think Donald Trump likes Keir Starmer. At some point, there'll be some book that comes out in the future where he'll say, actually, they're not getting on well. Isn't that what you'd call a bit of a cope? Just deal with the fact that if you love Donald Trump, you probably don't like Keir Starmer. It's not like logically it's impossible for Donald Trump to disagree with you on that. Just deal with it. Leaders probably get on a different level than we do. But I don't know. It's interesting. People are like, all visible signs tell us that actually they seem to get on. But I bet in the future I'm totally dealing with my cognitive dissonance by having a cope strategy. Front page of what we got going on here. Trump shows PM who's boss. Just coming up with some of it was useful advice, to be fair. Also, before we get into, I'll do it first. Hidden messages behind Melania's arresting outfits. I think we actually can zoom in. Look at me with technology. Hidden messages behind Melania's arresting outfits. Oh, you can see my mouse. Didn't realise you could do that. And there's no hit. Is there really a hidden message? I don't want to read 2 pages of Daily Mail on the hidden. Just say the darn thing. You know what I mean? Don't waste my time. Speaking of which, at the top, my mother always seemed to be keeping a secret, says this Secret Lives author. Then she died, and I found a letter listing her lesbian lovers. And I think the surprising thing there is that she was a list maker. Because surely it's more surprising that you keep a list of that than being a lesbian. Statistically, loads of lesbians, not loads of people who would make a list in a letter. What you needed was a spreadsheet. And then the front page of the Times, 3 arrested in Essex suspected of being Russian proxies. This is a spy network thing in areas that I used to broadcast to in Essex and now still do while we're on All Hit Radio every day from 1. And then the DAB is going to launch as well. So there is a chance I'm broadcasting to spies. Bit worrying. Immigration is destroying UK, Trump tells Starmer, and why Dutch courage can help you learn Dutch. I don't think we can zoom on it. No, it doesn't zoom in enough in the right bit. Apparently, someone did research saying if you want to learn a foreign language, you're better at it after a... again, they mock him in the article. Genius piece of research. You got research money to spend on alcohol. Well done. Well, no, as a chemist, when we did it, it was alcohol you couldn't drink. But that is research. That's good. You give yourself, learn a language, do a bit of Duolingo, a bit of Dua Lipa, and have some booze. Nice. That's the front pages pretty much taken care of. In the comments, Martin says, afternoon, Steve, not cancelled yet then. Not yet. Only a matter of time, but when I do, I'm sure we'll be on Rumble. And Judel says, we must lament the times before Excel existed. That was taxing times for lesbians. Tough times for lesbians, having to fill in the forms. Also, thank you for your messages, especially if you're an MP3 listener, actual podcast listener. Track me down on social media at Mr. Stephen Allen. I tried to load in the ability to look at some of these. So some of the messages, there you go. You can't read it, but it helps me do it. John says, please release the Almost Daily intro as a standalone song. It is so good. I will try and get that for you. I've not managed to get it today. However, stay tuned to the end. There is a song surprise for you. I'm promising, so I'm teasing ahead. Rodney gets in touch and asks about yesterday's show, any mention of me being in hospital? And it turns out he's in hospital. And as I pointed out, I said, yes, I just hope the recording of the live stream caught it. And he said, thought so, take that, Trump. And by that, I don't mean... You see, it's interesting, isn't it? This is what it's like for me online. People threatening me, take that, Trump, with their bodily gases. And let's have a look. Butterballs 2.0 says, the bit about Shirley Ballas, link below. Thank you, Mr. Stephen Allen. Gutter that YouTube didn't even tell me. Well, we've got the alerts working now. And also, as I've not refreshed it, I've put chapters in. If you want to look at yesterday's, don't look at that. If you want to look at yesterday's, you can see all of the chapters. Go straight to the news stories that we're talking about. That's the messages up to date with. Let's have a look. Impressive tech, says Martin. Thank you. You wait. You wait to see what happens. Halfway through today's Go Through the News, we've got an extra special thing. Part 2 of what we did yesterday. It's special. But anyway, let's get inside the papers.
Let's get inside the news.
Here we go. Right, let's load up the page where I can get to look at these things. There's loads to get through, and I'm sorry, yesterday's show was 47 minutes. That's too much for anyone, isn't it? So what we'll do is we'll start with... Oh, here we go. I think we've mentioned this story before, but boffins are one step closer to bringing the dodo back from extinction within a few years. Why? Work on that common cold. Cure the other diseases. Why? If you really miss the dodo, is anyone going, oh, if only top science, they can put a man on the moon, but they can't bring the dodo back? Get over it. And also, it's a risk, isn't it? The ecosystem is a delicately balanced thing. If there's one thing we learn from Jurassic Park is you were too busy, your scientists were too busy thinking if they could, they shouldn't think about whether they should. Or can you sort out your low volume, please? Lewis is louder than you. And no, is this a low volume show? If I make it too loud, we'll end up with all the things over my face. But anyway, don't interrupt. Anyway, what were we saying? I think the lesson from Jurassic Park is don't do this. Don't break, because getting your ass handed to you by a dinosaur, that's bad, but understandable. But if humanity gets wiped out by the dodo, that's on us. No, it's embarrassment. Getting wiped out by a flightless bird because it messes with our ecosystem. It seems foolish. There is no upside, there is only downside. This is a good story. A woman claims she escaped death twice and even had to argue with God to let her live. This Peggy woman, which is either... I thought it was a rating of computer games, but it's not. Basically, she went up there to, the pearly gates, and she then had a go. She had a go at a thing. She said, where's my favourite bit? God. She then saw God and begged him to return her to life, but he said that she was being a spoiled child. I was screaming at him, hell no. That's a risk, isn't it? You're at the pearly gates and you're bringing up the H word. I probably wouldn't have mentioned it if I were you, but it's up to you. She said, I won't go. You can't make me. I mean, literally, given that from this we presume you're religious, so we're not even getting into that, but it brings with it a set of presumptions. And being all-powerful, being omnipotent, you brought that up, not me. And there you're going, you can't make me. Of course he can make you. She says, I've got kids to raise. I asked God, who will teach them about you? Oh, clever. And suddenly I was back in the hospital. Do you not think that maybe what you found is you are so insufferable, even God was like, just get rid of her. Just put her back. No, just because she's a voice. It's not a good thing, is it, that you are so annoying even God wanted to get rid of you? That he would be there going, Jesus Christ, and you hear a voice from a back room shout, what is it, Dad? Not you. This woman is just, You out Karen God. Okay. If that's what you want to be known for, that's absolutely up to you. Quick break for some of the... it's keep stum in the comment section. Everyone can read it, but I guess I technically won't read it out if you want me to keep stum. Steve is a modest man. He doesn't want to bang on about himself. No. That's why I'm reading it. That's why I literally found a way of getting the compliments, the complimentary tweets on the show. Don't muck about with frogs, surely. Exactly, that's where they get DNA from, isn't it? Don't mix any of that frog DNA in it. And the dodo just put a wig on an emu, says proper memes. No offence, Kermit. And out Karen God. Joodles likes that one. Well, you wouldn't if you were God. Gen Zers. Remember, I'm always nervous when we're talking about Gen Z. Last week tonight with John Oliver has a clip of me from GB News, apparently losing my mind over Gen Zs. I was just reading how it was in the newspapers. I got no problem with Gen Zs. I like Gen Zs. Not in a weird way. Well, how old are they? They're like 25 or something, aren't they? Fair game is the wrong phrase. Gen Zs are having less sex than their parents and their grandparents. Yeah. It just seems... Because now you've made me imagine all of the different generations doing it. Youngsters between 18 and 26, all of it legal, romp less than once a week, 36 times a year, while Gen X, 44 to 60, get their leg over 62 times in 12 months. Well, I mean, maybe not all of us, but the point is, I'm here to help. So if you are aged between 18 and 26... There's an email. You can track me down. I'm just trying to do my bit. Look, after I famously don't like Gen Zs on last week tonight, I will do what I can if they are... Just, it's probably not the right thing to boast about, you know. Single Step says, hi from Australia, your southern colony. We did all right over there, didn't we? And I believe Gen Zs are now what's known as viable Joodles. You can't say that out loud. We talked about Strictly yesterday, didn't we? In fact, the Shirley Ballas bit was about Strictly. Well, here's some more Strictly news for you. Dancer Karen Hauer. Is that how you pronounce that? Hauer. Whore. Is that what it is? That, you know, because Karen's not a great name anyway. Is she called Karen Hauer? It's how you pronounce... That's unfortunate, isn't it? Said that Strictly's infamous curse happens because celebrities get confused by sexy moves. She explains, and that she's part of the confusion if she's called Miss Hall. She explains that professionals on the show are acting when they shake their hips. Karen, 43, said celebs, they're confused, but very confused. I'm confused about why we're still calling it a curse. Because... what you're telling me is there's a thing where you get to boost your career, you get to go on a TV show, and then you get to have an affair with someone who is sinewy and sweating and at the peak of their athletic prowess and flexible. What part of that seems like a curse? Imagine if you'd broke into some tomb when trying to make your way through a pyramid, and above the door, there's a little thing that says, you shall be cursed. Whomever enters, because they're good at who and whom, the Egyptians. Whomever enters here will be cursed to have an affair with a sexy dancer. Oh no, let me in. Joodle says, it wasn't me who said it out loud though, Steve, was it? What we're talking about? Oh, who? Proper meme says it's her. How like Rutger. No. Having said that, hi ho Kermit, literally you've got ho in your name. So it feels like there's a theme to today's show, and I'm not incredibly sure why. We had the front page of The Sun, but I've chopped off this bit from it because I bought a copy of it today, and maybe you can't see, but it's orange. But it's not on the version from the internet. But I got this today thinking they've done a special themed orange, what do they call it, the masthead or something, because of Donald Trump. I thought that was happening there. Turns out it's not. But just for a minute there, you're scraping the barrel when you've run out of news and you're doing the masthead coverage. But that was on the front page there. We might have to go full... the Sun is too big. Hugh Fernley Whittingstall's flagship restaurant got a 1-star hygiene rating after inspectors found mouldy cheese. But it's not often I wish to defend anyone so posh as to have like 3 big names like that. Isn't that like a thing that they sell, mouldy cheese? Is that not? Of all the things to be mouldy, you find me some mouldy beef, I'll go with you on that one. But mouldy cheese is it's probably on the menu there. River Cottage was blasted as needing major improvements by the Food Standards Agency. Examiners noted there was no date on opened goat curd. But again, does cheese really... As it matures, it just becomes a different cheese, doesn't it? That's how they invented cheese. Martin in the comments says Stilton. Exactly. If you're going to shut someone down and give them a 1-star rating for mouldy cheese, anywhere that does a Stilton and Brie baguette, you've absolutely done it, mate. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Martin said, well, I've missed that one. And I was just running out of ink. Replaced the magenta. Oh, is that what it is? Is that why it was orange? I just thought it was a Donald Trump themed masthead. This is from one of the tabloids. Can't remember which one we got it from. But Sex Pistols legend Johnny Rotten says he didn't invent punk, cavemen did. All right, well, I'll go with you on this because I've got nothing else to do, but you're probably talking nonsense. The singer, 69, took aim at critics and other bands for claiming they got there first. He said, if you want a true originator of punk, you're going to have to go back to cavemen. And when one rock bounced off the wall, hit him on the head and went, beep, hell, now there's your first punk singer. I don't think they had the language to do that. I mean, obviously, the ancient Egyptians were all over who and whom. They knew the objective and subjective form of that pronoun. But the caveman having hell as a concept and they did the first part. But you know what? I disagree. I think when the first caveman threw a rock at a wall and it hit him on the head, they invented MTV's Jackass or whatever it's called. That's not even worth inventing, is it? Punks are different, but that kind of thing. The first slapstick, that's what they did. They invented the first slapstick, and everything went downhill ever since. Brits' biggest buzzers from banging bargain. No idea. The buzz from bagging a bargain kicks in at £106. Researchers found that 85% of savvy shoppers get a thrill from a cut-price deal. The good news, bad news. The bad news is you have to spend £106 to feel good about bagging a bargain. Good news. That's kind of a shop these days. It didn't used to be, but, you walk anywhere near a Tesco and somehow you got 20 quid gone from your bank account. That's about 5 items these days. So not necessarily feeling like a bargain, is it? I bought 2 big bags of coffee beans yesterday because we ran low, and I went at the end of my run after we did the show. Went for me run. Ended up in Tesco. Bought 2 big bags, 2 kilogram bags. It was £30. I bought 2 items for the bit of a wake up call, which means I don't actually need the coffee. Loving the alliteration, says Martin in the comments. Caveman had a lot of punk and ticks. Yep, says proper memes. We'll take a break for a sec. Hang on. Hi-ho Kermit says France must have a low score nationally. I'm sure they do. Oh, because of the cheese, but also for other reasons. Hi-ho Kermit says, I bought a whole cooked chicken for £2.16 the other day. Bargain. Well, if you don't mind mouldy chicken, Hugh Whittingstall would probably sell it in his restaurant, wouldn't they? And Martin says they do ready ground in jars. Yeah, but I like to grind my own beans. There's a quote. We'll just lift that from today's show. Let me take a second out before we move on any further. I've got something special for you. Yesterday, I was drinking the Hugh because... get rid of you. Drinking the Hugh because it's hot. I'm not going to touch that. I've never left a drink because it's so bad, which means I'll never get sponsored, but that's fine. What I thought we'd do instead is do a different energy drink. As I said, I've got loads that I get through, and I thought I'd do it, and it's still not sponsored. Of course it's still not sponsored. But instead, we do energy drink of the day, and I even made us an energy drink of the day jingle. Here we go.
Energy drink of the day. Keeps the yawns and the slumps away. Crack a can, hear it fizz and spray. Wake me up, take me away.
So that's that jingle sorted. And whilst I can't do the full version of our theme tune at the end of the show, there is a full version of Energy Drink of the Day to play us out. Look forward to that later on. Meanwhile, the bargainous, the Ice Edition sugar-free Red Bull is what I had in my shelf. And, I need it, so let's just take a little drink break. That is interesting. It's iced vanilla berry. Which is interesting, because I don't think vanilla is a berry. It vitalizes body and mind, apparently. And it has the flavour of... It's quite scented. I was going to say it's got the whiff of something that gets sprayed in a toilet, but it's more like... Imagine you're in a nightclub and you've accidentally licked the neck of someone who wears a cheap perfume from Superdrug. So there's that. Right. Joodle says, almost weeping, jingle-tastic. It's a good jingle. AI is literally doing the best bits of this show, which is depressing. Vanilla is a pod with seeds in it. Oh. So it's definitely a fruit, because we know the botanical definition of fruit is something that's got seeds in it. And a berry, strawberries aren't berries because the seeds of a strawberry are on the outside, so it's the worst titled thing ever, isn't it? Whereas a grape is a berry. Does that mean... I think vanilla is a berry. Accidentally lick the neck off. Yes, you wouldn't... Well, what I mean is, you'd be deliberately licking the neck, but you didn't realise it was someone who had perfume on from Superdrug's special cheap range. That's what I mean. I'm not saying you accidentally lick a neck. Like, you're just leading with your tongue, eyes closed. Oh, I just caught a neck by accident. I mean, you pick the wrong neck. You lick it and you go, oh, you're like Red Bull, the iced edition, sugar-free iced vanilla berry. It turns out it's a berry. And people think you don't learn anything. No wonder the show's getting longer. Let's crack on. So back into some of the stories. Since we just talked about AI, artificial intelligence will spark a financial crash worse than 2008. Great, thanks. And turn us into drug-fueled zombies. Well, then stop making it. Feels like apparently it's going to do us all out of a job. There's a bit down the bottom which I don't think you can see. Joodle says that's how. Have you had a cold? What? Do I sound? Am I being picked on again? I thought I was going to get picked on for wearing pajamas. The people will feel depressed apparently if they've not got full employment or they have very low self-esteem. There could be not only financial depression but a depression coming our way thanks to AI, and that is where I am in a lucky position because I, obviously, peak of my career, used to work on the BBC, and that show got cancelled by Boris Johnson. The MASH report, he apparently deliberately named it as one he wanted to go. Then I ended up working on Headliners, and they cancelled that from GB News. And then I did a radio show, and they sold that radio station in Essex, and then they basically shut down the place. So I don't even have work. So an AI comes along and takes everyone's work, and they're all like, yeah, I don't have a job anymore. Who's ahead of the game? Yeah? Hi-ho, Kermit says, I think vanilla and berry, if you had to guess. No, it is a berry. You couldn't smell the perfume, but you could taste it by accident. No, I see what you mean. If you were moving towards someone's neck, I suppose you could, if you had the reflexes, if you had the scent of a woman, ho-ha style reflexes, you could be like, I'm not going in. But it's a brave man who backs out when you're just close to a neck, isn't it? It'd look odd. Oh, Trump news. There you go. There's my favourite picture of the coverage. No, because it looks like they're doing scissor, paper, stone. And Trump's winning on that one. Melania's not paying attention. And whatever the name of Starmer's wife is, honestly, you wouldn't recognise. If I only gave you that bit of the story, that bit just over there, who's this woman? If that was the game, who's that woman? Not a flipping chance, is there? Not a flipping chance. Try and zoom in on this one. It's the smallest piece of news we've ever looked at. But I think it's important. This news in brief. Nearly half of Gen Zers, sorry to have a go about them again, say that they often have to ask for help to break up a chocolate bar. I can't help but think that we're done as a species. Because if you can't even break... Back in the day, you had to hunt down a wildebeest. You had to take on some animal, fight it. Look at yesterday's show. There's a whole thing about who was taking down the wildebeest. Now, I can't do me Toblerone's too tough. And obviously with Toblerone, you actually pinch the top of the triangles because force times distance. But this is not what we're here to talk about. We're talking about the fact that if you can't break off your own chocolate, give in. Just lay there and just let it happen. Because I am of a generation where, if anything, I eat too much chocolate. And who would have thought we'd live in a situation where those of us who pile down the fruit and nut are somehow the athletic ones? I can't. It's because you keep it in the fridge as well. It's your own stupid fault. Uh-oh. Who's this? Donald Trump and Peter Mandelson. The reason we put that here, lie over links to Mandy. Trump bizarrely insisted that he didn't know sacked Lord Mandelson, despite his role as UK ambassador to the US. Yeah, not having a great time with I barely knew the person that there are pictures of me. Yeah, you were a friend of a friend. That's the problem, isn't it? Right there is at least the problem. Here's an interesting one. Including more beans in school meals and changing hospital menus can make Brits healthier and help the environment. It's one or the other, I think, because if what you're saying there is we're going to eat more beans, surely to goodness, the environment's going to take an absolute slap for that one. One thing we know, greenhouse gases that can absorb UV photons and then jiggle around, and then that gets transferred as heat into the environment, right? That, you've got your carbon dioxide, you need to have non-symmetrical molecules, otherwise the mode of vibration, there's no difference in the change of mode of vibration. Vibrational modes are also quantized, and it's the absorption of a photon that will change about the mode of vibration. And you can't do that if you've got symmetrical molecules. So most of the gas, nitrogen, what's that? Nitrogen and oxygen, when added together, is like 99% of the gas in the atmosphere, isn't it? They can't be greenhouse gases. Argon can't, that's in the atmosphere as well. And then you get down to H2O, methane, and carbon dioxide. Everyone knows about carbon dioxide, and the only reason it's got a vibrational molecule is it's got some weird thing to do with its symmetry. But methane, that's a real bad one, because it's definitely possible to have modes of vibration on that one, and it's in farts. We're going to end this planet by, let's make ourselves healthier with beans. I thought it would be embarrassing to wipe ourselves out by reinventing the Dodo, but we're going to fart ourselves to death. In the comment section, oh my God, this year's old when I found out how to break Toblerone. I want to apologise to the roof of my mouth. Just you get the top, the apex of the apogee of the triangle, pop it together, use mechanical advantage. It's a class 1 lever, isn't it? Don't they have teeth? The lack of NHS dentists. That's what you're right. You're right there, hi-ho Kermits. Gen Zs have no teeth. Which really means that earlier story about the fact they don't have sex is such a shame. Really got to get myself cancelled. But they're all 18 or above. A filthy 1 in 3 of us washes our towels just once every 3 months. That is disgusting. But what's even more disgusting about it is that people were willing to admit this in a survey. You know, if someone comes up to you and goes, how often do you wash your towels? If you wash them once every 3 months, surely you would at the very least pretend you'd do it more often. It costs you nothing to pretend you wash them every week. Experts say you should wash them every week. I wash them every week. And now you don't know, do you? Because I've just said I would lie. I might be a 3-monther, but I've got the good sense to say, yeah, experts say every week. Yeah, I think I'll probably do it about every week, actually, yeah. I'm in charge of the laundry around our house, and I do like a nice crisp towel. We talked about spiders yesterday, didn't we? Can't remember. Britain's most dangerous spider is invading our homes and pants. Bear with. I don't even think there's one in my home, but it's worth checking, wasn't it? If you've got cobwebs, the noble false widows are in mating season. Well, why are they? If you're a false widow, you're a very false widow if you're back at the mating game. Honestly, it's barely been gone 2 minutes. Apparently, the biting males are heading indoors to find females, which seems stupid because you're a spider, and if you want to find spiders, they're outdoors. Don't know if you've noticed that. Well, then again, they've heard this story, haven't they? So now the spiders are thinking, where can I find other false widow spiders? In the pants of humans. Great. Oh, we've done ourselves an absolute mischief there. Martin in the comments says knobwebs. Yep. Judel says a crisp towel, Steve. I think that's what you get after 6 months. And another Randy Spider says proper memes. Yeah, these spiders, they're coming indoors to mate. Which is odd, isn't it? Because it just goes to show familiar. I think you're going to get some double agents. It feels that, do you want trustworthy people to be spies? Why not recruit from the dark web? Oh, I know why. The secure messaging platform Silent Courier aims to strengthen national security. No idea what that's about. The government hopes it will help intelligence agency attract spooks. I just think this is a great way to shop for wrong uns. I know what this is. Yeah. We're going to recruit spies. Of course you are. Of course you are. Good luck. Apply for that job and see how you get Guantanamo'd. There is so much flipping news to get through. I do apologise here. We should have covered this one earlier in the serious news. An Eritrean man is to be deported today after losing High Court bid to block his removal. This is the one in, one out scheme. Update so far, he's been sent, so we're now at 2 out. Not sure how many in. Might be more than 2. I think it was just around 50,000 so far this year, was it? So 50,000 in, 2 out. It's getting there, though, isn't it? They called it a pilot scheme. What I thought was funny, and it's a shame I didn't get to broadcast one of these before then. Since yesterday was the first person who got sent back on the scheme. Before that, the flights were still going, just with no one on them. And there's a joke there about it's a pilot scheme. Do you know what I mean? But you can do your own. Look, I'm seeing in the comments, you can do your own jokes. But this Eritrean man's the latest one. His High Court bid was rejected. Yesterday, it was an Indian man who was sent back to France, who will apparently straight away be sent back to India, which really is no skin off the French's nose at all, is it? Does that even count as one of our one-outs? If they've not, it seems unfair. Also, it's interesting, the first person on the scheme was being sent back to India. Not what one normally considers to be a nation that's on the list of hotspots that we need to worry about, is it? It very much feels like some of how integral people from India are in our society is important. Maybe we shouldn't be sending those back. It feels like they're so nice and so useful that probably someone in the government said, can anyone just volunteer to be sent back? And they were like, yeah, sure. Just so it looks like we've at least sent one. Do you know what I mean? Hi-Ho Kermit says, pilot scheme. Well, there's only 2 pilot seats. 1 in, 1 out. We could work on that. We'll brainstorm that one. Speaking of brains, DJ Roman Kemp does not believe pigeons are real birds and reckons they are planted by the government for surveillance purposes. I mean, I don't believe he believes that. I believe he's trying to plug. He's bound to be trying to plug something, isn't he? They didn't write about it, but it seems like you plug in something. Because back in the day, if I wanted to get my radio show in the newspaper, if I could have said that, people just wouldn't have cared. So he says, have you seen a baby pigeon? My theory is CCTV. I can see it. I think they could be CCTV. I understand that theory. Then why would you, these pigeons that you think are monitoring us, why do they all group up together? You don't need that many CCTVs in Trafalgar Square, do you? Do you know what I mean? And also, why are they pooing on us then? I don't mind being surveilled by the government, but whoever invented it was like, and also we'll get them to take a little dump on the pigeon. Oh, no, that's too far. That's too far. Heston Blumenthal says he's come up with mini versions of his weird and wonderful dishes for folk on the fat jabs. The celebrity chef has an alternative selection of tasting courses at the Fat Duck, probably just call it the Duck these days, I imagine, in Berkshire, will deliver the same flavour and theatre, but in small. You say that, but these restaurants already have quite a lot of small portions, don't they? Maybe I need to be doing some fat jabs or something, but these restaurants, they give you a massive plate, and in the middle of it, like, it wouldn't even look this bad if you did a normal plate, but a massive plate with there's a bit of meat and there's a sauce around it. Or even worse, you get some MasterChef, where they just dribble the sauce around in a weird shape, which is so thin you can't use that sauce. All you've done is dirty your plate more. It's not the worst thing on MasterChef. No, I'll give you that. But the price is still the same, says Proper Memes. Shrinkflation. Heck yeah. All he does is, he very much feels like he just freezes things, doesn't he, in nitrogen. The Ukraine spy disguised as an elderly woman tried to blow up a Russian industry chief, it's claimed. Look, that's bad. I just want to say maybe we shouldn't be pretending to be pensioners, because now... Do you remember when that... Was he called Richard Reed or something? Or is that Mr. Mr. Fantastic. But the guy who tried to get on a plane with a device in his shoes, and after that, no one could wear shoes on planes. And then there was the story of a guy who got on the plane with some explosives in his underpants, and thankfully that didn't lead to the same outcome. But I'm just saying, don't do this, because now we're going to have to pat down grannies. Don't pretend to be OAP ladies, because then you have to, arms up, oh, my shoulder. You have to pat them down, you have to scan their Zimmer frames. Life would be easier for all concerned if you dressed as a sexy model. We'll give more comments in a second. A supermarket worker is marking retirement after 45 years of pushing trolleys. Over 8 million trolleys. And I mention this because in 2012, this is before the MASH report was even a thing. Stand-up wasn't bringing in enough money. The radio show, I used to do a drive time show, and I got removed from that for various reasons. But things weren't going great. And I was like, you know what? I live near a Sainsbury's. I'll go and apply to the work there in the day and do stand-up in the evening. I'll get through. And it turned out they needed 2 references to do the job of pushing trolleys. And I could not provide that because I'd either just been like a self-employed stand-up comedian. No one's there to write references. And the one employer I'd just had fired me. Great. I couldn't push trolleys for a living. This guy managed to do it for 45 years. I know the pecking order. He's had a more successful career than I have. No, fair enough. Let's have a look. Maybe that was an explosive spider, says Martin. Don't let him in your cobwebs, your knobwebs. Proper Meme says it was because he was prosecuted by the government. What, the Martin Kemp? Hi Ho Kermit says, I remember being on a flight from Amsterdam and the only one who didn't get searched. They lifted a bloke out of a wheelchair and checked under his bag. Did they find any spiders? Deary me. Do not suck or nibble. It's the headline about another Gen Z story, I'm imagining. But no, let's have a look. The makers of Maltesers have finally settled the debate about the correct way to eat them. No, it's not. There's never been a debate. No one cares. You are just getting in the newspapers. And I'm falling for it. I'm plugging Maltesers. According to a poll, 53%, oh great, one more than Brexit, suck the treats without chewing, while 26% nibble the chocolate away before eating them. 24% bite them in half and eat. Does it tell us how many people get a handful, cram them all in, chew it down you whilst crying in your car after a gig? I'm asking for a friend. No? No data on that one. Fun fact, says Joodles, and I've been. There's one company in the UK called Wanzel who makes and repairs every trolley in the country. I bet Gen Z journalist. I bet it was a Gen Z journalist too, says Proper Memes, who had no teeth and can't break the chocolate bar. That's why they're stuck in the Maltesers. Road toll wed risk. Marriages could be put in jeopardy by road pricing plans, the Lords heard yesterday, because tracking cars and charging per mile has been floated as a fuel duty revenues drive. Great. Yeah. Want to buy an electric car? It means you won't pay as much in fuel duty. Oh, look, the government will then try and get the money out of you another way. There is no win. If that's the quote from today's show, not the thing I said earlier on, there is no win. There's the clip. Sorry, that's what's true, isn't it? Find a way round the expensiveness of life, the expense of life, and they will just find that money another way. Tracking cars means that the critics say it could lead to rows if partners snoop on each other's journeys. Yep. I'd love to see who raised that in the Lords and the looks they'd be getting. Well, I think it would be a terrible idea to be monitoring where our cars go. What if people find out about our affairs? Awkward? No, what? Of all the reasons. Well, this is not the moral high ground, is it? You can't charge us per mile. It means I'd have to stop seeing my mistress. Joodle says, I'm off to find a death cult. It's always been a con, says Hi-Ho Kermit. 12 quid doesn't clean the fumes yet. Also, the amount of you have to pay for coffee. Emma, hello Emma, says, can we vote on this, please? Maltesers. No, don't vote on it. It's the opposite of that. Just eat the Maltesers. There is no big debate. Have you genuinely, before that story, thought, do you know what, one of the big issues that we've not settled in the UK, well, yeah, sure, we had the referendum on Brexit and things. There are still some issues about whether it's delivered there. We don't really know what free speech is these days. Do we need to have a debate about that? And the other big topic, Are we eating Maltesers correctly? Has that really got to you? Is that the one that's holding us back? The French President Emmanuel Macron and his wife Brigitte will present to US courts with scientific evidence that she is a woman. I read about this in another newspaper and it said photographic evidence. And I did think, what photograph would prove that she is a woman? And we've all thought of it, and then you're wrong, aren't you? Because that's exactly what you get done. So it would prove she's a woman or has a good surgeon. Also, it doesn't matter. This matters less than how you eat your Maltesers. Whether Macron married someone who used to be a man or not. Would that change your world? Of course. Proper Meme says the evidence is that she's doing the dishes and hoovering. He said it, not me. Come on, I don't want to get cancelled. Emma's watching this. We've got a lady watching this, and you're doing that joke. Hi-Ho says, I do bite them in half, probably influenced by the adverts, but I do have teeth because you're not a Gen Zer. But just eat the darn thing. Oh, we shouldn't have left this to the end. I don't think we have. Sorry about this. Mrs. Macron could come a cropper. Does anyone care? Maybe I should engage more. Would you care if the wife of Emmanuel Macron used to be a man? The only thing I know about Emmanuel Macron, there was a film made about his life and some sequels, and he's... Woohoo! Am I thinking of the wrong thing? Anyway, so we end on this, and it's not the best story, but sorry about this. Jeremy Corbyn's new lefty party descended into chaos again yesterday as a spat exploded online. Co-leader Zara Sultana invited fellow socialists to sign up and pay 50 quid. And then he'd said that he never gave permission for that. Everything's voted for on committee in this thing, and that's why everything they do is on a row because they've all not voted for it. They voted for the launch of the party. Jeremy Corbyn didn't agree with something, so therefore thought, if it's a committee vote, then the numbers have it, but he voted no to that. Basically, it's all kicked off. It's back to the usual. The right fights the left, and the left fights amongst itself. Ms. Sultana responded, I have been subjected to the sexist boys club and excluded completely. So, all going well there then. We're about sorted. Thank you very much for your attention. The stuff that I wish to plug, I'm gigging in... Oh, no, I pressed the wrong button. I'm gigging in Battersea. It's at I think it's called the Electric Bill Comedy Club. It's at a theatre or something. I can't remember the details, but that's tomorrow night. Yesterday on the stream, I did say I'd be on GB News reviewing the newspapers, and then got a phone call to say they'd double booked me. And it was my fault for trying to move from Wednesday, so I got dropped. But I am back tonight, in theory, although no one's confirmed it yet. So let's see. There's a chance I'm back on tonight at 11 p.m. on GB News. You need to put the dates on screen, says Proper Memes. Yeah, all right. I've been doing absolutely everything else on screen. I'm getting there. And no, that's it. All Hit Radio. You can listen by shouting at your Amazon-based smart speaker, play All Hit Radio. I'm on at 1 o'clock, so not long until that happens. Follow me on social media, at Mr. Stephen Allen on all of the social media things. There's Substack, if you'd like to send some money in my general direction and get something for it. If you'd just like to give me money without getting anything for it, good luck to you. Ko-fi.com. Links should be in the episode description. And no Alexa news. Did I? I think I had Alexa. No, you're right. You're right. There is a story about Alexa. Oh, great. You're brilliant. There is one story which somehow got moved across. It's underneath the dancer, the horde story. You're right. There is one to finish on. We can even zoom in on this one. Alexa can now say, "What's the crack?" with an Irish lilt after calls from Emerald Isle users. Really? How is that not cultural appropriation? Your Alexa can do accents, but I'm not allowed to. How are we living in that world now? And no wonder AI will beat us, because AI can do all the voices, and it'll be, oh, that's nice. Look, it was actually asked for by people in Ireland. Could it do an Irish accent? And yet, when I try and do an accent of what I imagine that guy on the plane sounded like yesterday, oh, apparently he wasn't Welsh. Anyway, so that was my take on that. Let's have a look down in the story. I've not read the whole thing. Amazon punters asked if virtual assistants for some Irish phrases It can do 20. It can say, it's grand, thanks a mill. Is that an Irish thing? And it can also say that word. No idea. No idea. I mean, if you could do the names, good luck to it. But when I do my Chinese accent, says Martin, exactly. Exactly. Did I tell you? I think they're actually on here. These things. I bought these. That looks ruder than it should somehow, doesn't it? They are headphones. It's not a busty alien or something. Put it that way around. Whoa. When I was, I bought these so that when I do video things, I wanted to have like concealable Bluetooth headset-y bits. And how do you hide the thing? There it is. I wanted to have Bluetooth conceal things, and I bought these off one of those Chinese websites. And I didn't realize that it means they're cheap, they work, but the only language they speak is Chinese. And I mean, to be fair, it could be Mandarin or Cantonese. I don't know. But it means when they say connected and pairing, I guess, I now know what the words are like. But if I do the accent to say what it's like, I'd get cancelled. I'd get cancelled quicker than those things would because I don't know how to pair them. Or PWS connected or whatever it is. I can't do all of those. We are up to date with all of the news. Somehow that was worth talking about. Thank you for subscribing. If you have subscribed, share the thing. I'll try and do the chapters again. And I think we're all about... to play us out. We have the song. I'll get it all loaded up. Energy drink of the day. Why not? Join me for actual music on All Hit Radio at 1 o'clock. But until next time, let's see if we get it. Here's the song. It's coming forward. It's coming at you. Coming at you.
Morning's a blur, I can't quite see. My bed's a boat lost out at sea. I need a spark to light my way, a jolt, a buzz to start my day. Energy drink of the day keeps the yawns and the slumps away. Crack a can, hear it fizz and spray. Wake me up, take me away. Label screen, extreme ignites. Promises to fuel my fights. Berry blast or mango flame. Today's roulette, it's all the same. Step it slow, chug it fast. How long will this rocket blast? Energy drink of the day keeps the yawns and the slumps away. Crack the can, hear it fizz and spray. Wake me up, take me away. Label screen, extreme ignite. Promises to fuel my fight. Berry blast or mango flame. Today's roulette, it's all the same. Sip it slow or chug it fast. How long will this rocket blast? Energy drink of the day keeps the yawns and the slumps away. Crack the can, hear it fizz and spray. Wake me up, take me away. My hands shake, my heart's a drum, but I feel alive and then some. Is this power or is it dread? Can't stop now,